In this video, let's rank the 10 most underrated Disney villains. Disney is famous for its iconic villains, but some of them don't get the recognition they deserve. So let's shine a light on these lesser-known baddies and see how they stack up against each other. Kicking off the list at number 10 is Sykes, the main antagonist from Oliver and Company. What makes Sykes stand out is that he doesn't have any magical powers or supernatural abilities. Instead, he relies on his sheer ruthlessness and cold-hearted nature. Sykes is a gritty, cold-blooded loan shark who shows no remorse when it comes to putting innocent animals and people in danger just to make a quick buck. Unlike many Disney villains who might have flashy powers or elaborate schemes, Sykes is grounded in reality. He's all about shady deals and has that infamous cigar that adds to his tough guy image. His brutal demeanor makes him a formidable foe, but sadly, his darker motives often get overshadowed by more colorful characters in the Disney lineup. If Oliver and Company had achieved the same level of fame as The Lion King, I truly believe Sykes would have a much larger fan base today. Coming in at number 9 is Commander Rourke from Atlantis: The Lost Empire. This villain is interesting because he isn't just motivated by revenge or dark magic. His driving force is pure greed and ambition. At first, Rourke appears to be a charming and fearless leader who genuinely cares about his crew. However, everything changes once he discovers the incredible power of Atlantis. Once Rourke learns about Atlantis and its secrets, his true colors come out. He's willing to betray anyone, friends and crew members alike, just for a shot at wealth and power. This transformation from a seemingly trustworthy commander to a ruthless, greedy villain makes him both terrifying and fascinating to watch. Unfortunately, the movie didn't receive as much attention as other Disney classics, which means that Rourke often gets overlooked in discussions about Disney villains. At number 8, we have the Horned King from The Black Cauldron. This character feels like he walked straight out of a horror movie, thanks to his creepy design and chilling voice. He's not just your average villain. His main goal is to unleash an army of undead soldiers using the legendary Black Cauldron, which would bring darkness and chaos to the land. What makes the Horned King so terrifying is his presence. While he might not have the same depth or complexity as some other Disney villains, his sinister demeanor more than makes up for it. He embodies pure evil, and his ambition to conquer through fear is genuinely unsettling. Unfortunately, The Black Cauldron didn't perform well when it was first released, which likely contributed to the Horned King being less recognized compared to other Disney villains. But for those who know him, he remains a memorable and frightening figure in Disney's lineup. Coming in at number 7 is Mother Gothal from Tangled. Now, I know some people might argue that she's not exactly underrated, but hear me out. When we really think about it, she's one of the most realistic and subtly dangerous villains in the Disney world. Gothal is a master manipulator who uses gaslighting and a twisted sense of love to control Rapunzel. Unlike many villains who rely on brute strength or magical powers, Gothal's power lies in her psychological manipulation. She makes Rapunzel feel loved and dependent on her while ensuring that she stays locked away in the tower. This kind of emotional control is incredibly relatable and frightening because it mirrors real-life situations where people can be trapped by toxic relationships. While I agree that Mother Gothal may not be completely underrated, she does have her fans. Her complex character deserves more recognition. The way she embodies a realistic form of villainy makes her stand out among the more traditional Disney antagonists. At number 6, we have Isma from The Emperor's New Groove. What makes Isma such a standout character is that she's not just evil, she's also incredibly funny. Her eccentric personality and unpredictable behavior make her one of the most entertaining villains in Disney history. Isma has a hilarious obsession with beauty and revenge, which leads her to come up with some truly wild plans throughout the movie. One of the highlights of Isma's character is her relationship with her lovable but dim-witted sidekick Kronk. Their interactions create some of the funniest moments in Disney films. Whether they're plotting against Emperor Kuzco or just trying to figure out their next move, their chemistry adds a delightful layer of comedy to the story. Unfortunately, The Emperor's New Groove often gets overlooked compared to other Disney classics, which means Isma doesn't always receive the recognition she deserves. It's her charisma, humor, and one-of-a-kind personality that really make her shine as an underrated Disney villain. Coming in at number 5 is Shaun Yu from Mulan. As the leader of the Huns, he is one of the most intimidating and intense villains Disney has ever created. What sets Shaun Yu apart is that he doesn't rely on magic or clever tricks. His strength and ruthlessness are all his own. He has a powerful desire to conquer China, and his calm demeanor combined with terrifying tactics makes him a chilling presence throughout the film. While Mulan is definitely a beloved movie with strong recognition for its themes and characters, Shaun Yu often gets overshadowed by more popular figures like Mushu and Mulan herself. The story focuses more on Mulan's journey as a hero rather than framing it as a battle against evil. However, Shaun Yu plays a crucial role in creating that journey and deserves more acknowledgement for his impact on the story. At number 4 is Professor Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective. Ratigan is a villain with grand dreams. He wants to rule the Mouse Kingdom with style and will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. His blend of charisma and menace makes him both charming and terrifying at the same time. He has a flair for the dramatic that makes his character unforgettable. Despite his memorable personality and ambitious plans, The Great Mouse Detective isn't as widely watched as some other Disney classics. Because of this, Ratigan often flies under the radar when people discuss Disney villains. His desire for power and his elaborate schemes make him an interesting character who deserves more attention. His unique combination of sophistication and villainy sets him apart from other antagonists in the Disney universe. He may not be as well known as some of his peers, but his impact on the story and his larger-than-life persona make him a worthy contender for the list of underrated villains. At number 3, we have Madame Mim from The Sword in the Stone. She's a quirky and wild sorceress with a chaotic energy that's hard to ignore. Madame Mim is playful and loves to stir up trouble just for her own amusement. One of the most memorable moments in the film is her showdown with Merlin, where they engage in a magical duel that involves transforming into various creatures. This scene is not only creative but also showcases some of Disney's best animation. Even though her role in the movie is relatively small, it's her eccentric personality that really stands out. She brings a sense of fun and unpredictability to the story, making her a delightful character to watch. Unfortunately, The Sword in the Stone isn't as popular as some other Disney classics, which often leads to Madame Mim being overlooked. Coming in at number 2 is Lady Tremaine, Cinderella's wicked stepmother. Unlike many other Disney villains, Lady Tremaine doesn't have magical powers or an evil army at her disposal. Instead, it's her manipulation and cruelty that make her such a realistic and relatable villain. She makes Cinderella's life a living nightmare, constantly belittling her while trying to elevate her own daughters. What makes Lady Tremaine particularly chilling is how she uses psychological tactics to get what she wants. She embodies the type of villainy that can exist in real life, someone who thrives on control and power over others. This makes her feel like a very genuine antagonist, similar to Mother Gothal from Tangled, but I would argue that Lady Tremaine is even more underrated than Gothal. Her cold demeanor and relentless pursuit of her own interests at the expense of Cinderella make her a truly formidable villain who deserves more recognition than she typically receives. At number 1, we have DrFacilier from The Princess and the Frog. Known as the Shadow Man, DrFacilier is a suave and stylish villain with a flair for the dramatic. What makes him particularly dangerous is his mastery of voodoo magic and his connections with the spirits he refers to as his friends on the other side. His ultimate goal is to control New Orleans and gain unimaginable power, which makes him a formidable foe. DrFacilier's charismatic personality really sets him apart from other Disney villains. He's charming and smooth-talking, which allows him to manipulate those around him with ease. His shadowy abilities add an extra layer of intrigue, making him one of the most unique villains in the Disney lineup. However, despite his chilling charm and impressive villainy, he often goes unnoticed in discussions about Disney antagonists. This lack of recognition makes him a very underrated character who deserves more attention for his complexity and creativity. While we're on the topic of underrated villains, I can't help but mention one more character who deserves a spot on this list: Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Frollo is easily one of the darkest villains in Disney history, yet he often flies under the radar. As the Minister of Justice in Paris, he's supposed to uphold the law and protect the innocent, but his actions reveal a hypocritical cruelty that is truly unsettling. Frollo is obsessed with rooting out what he considers sinful behavior, and he takes pleasure in controlling and judging others. His treatment of Quasimodo is downright horrific. He abuses and isolates him while claiming to be his guardian. Additionally, his possessiveness over Esmeralda highlights his twisted nature, as he views her not as a person but as an object to be controlled. The combination of his dark motivations and his terrifying actions makes him one of the most cruel villains Disney has ever created. Unfortunately, because The Hunchback of Notre Dame doesn't get as much attention as other Disney films, Frollo often gets overlooked in conversations about iconic villains.